Okay, welcome back to Guitarmonies Part 3, Session 3. And today we're going to look at building three-part harmonies on the top three strings of the guitar. These are also called triads. So if you've heard that before, it's really a simple concept. Essentially what we're doing is we're going to build a harmony using three notes, and it's usually centered around a melody note. So in this case, we're playing in the key of G. The whole backing track, Ambient, chord, that whole wash is just a G chord. So all these triads work well over that. And again, like everything else, this can be applied to other keys. It's not just one part. It's a concept. It's a way to play the guitar. So we're starting on the G chord here, and I call it a G chord because the three notes that we are using to build this triad are G, B, and D, the three notes that we need to play a G chord. So the difference in strumming this and plucking this kind of makes the difference with this track. I'm using like a kind of a quarter note and dotted eighth note delay. So the difference between playing it like this and this, you kind of hear those harmonies attack all at once. So you can hear all of those notes ringing out together. So I'm starting here and I'm building kind of the traditional D shape harmony. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my first finger to play across all top three strings, the E, the B, and the G. I'm going to bar here and then take my middle finger and place that right on the 8th fret. So first finger on the 7th fret, middle finger on the 8th fret, and here we have our major triad. We have a B as our high melody note, and then underneath it is supporting the G, and then the D. So all together, you have a very bright, open sounding G. Now what we're going to do for the second chord is drop down, and we're going to play another major type harmony. We've got the melody note on the A, which we're going to play with our first finger, and then I'm going to take my third finger and my fourth finger and place those right on the 7th fret. And we have an A, an F sharp, and then a D. So that chord, it's a D chord, essentially what it is. So you've got a G down to a D, then back to a G. So really simple. The first part, super simple. The next part is going to move up to, this is another triad that starts on the D. The melody note is up here, 10th fret on the high E string, but then it's supported by a B and a G. So essentially it's another G triad. It's all the same notes, the same ingredients that we used to play this chord, but the difference is that melody note changes. It goes up 1.5 steps, and so you kind of get this different chord sound, this different tone. You could also kind of, if you looked at it as a D chord, it would be like a D sus with a 6 in it, but we're just going to call it another G. So you've got G here, D, back to G, and then here we're going to play the G, and then we're going to go down to this kind of D7 triad that could also be looked at as maybe an F sharp half diminished. We have a C in the top, C in the melody, followed by an A. So the C is on the 8th fret of the high E, the A is on the 10th fret of the B, and then the F sharp is on the 11th fret of the G. So this sounds like this. And it kind of has a classical sound to it, and that's because we have this dominant sound. But what's interesting is that the D is absent from the chord. So if you were building it kind of from the bottom up, you could think maybe like F sharp half diminished. But since our melody notes are on top, we're going to call it like a D7. So far we have G, D, back to G, and then here's the walk down. Last chord is an E minor, and it starts with the melody note on the B, which is 7th fret, high E string, and then our G is going to be the 8th fret, and then third finger on the E. So you play these three notes, you get a nice E minor sound if you hear that over the E. Right? But over the G, it still works because E minor and G major are relative major and minor. So again, here's the whole pass all the way through 2, 3, 4. And then right back to the G. So again, you can use these chord shapes anywhere and try experimenting up and down the scale, building these triads. Again, we've moved on from 2-part harmonies to now 3-part harmonies, and really they come out sounding really nicely when you maybe have a delay playing in an ambient setting like this. You can kind of create a lot of neat sounds with that. So again, the combinations are almost endless when you think about your melody note, where you're starting, and then where you're building the harmony, and then you can just kind of go from there. So have fun playing around with that, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.